Hi, this is Dr. Eric, reminding you to check the link below to get your copy of the PDF that accompanies this Masterclass video. Thanks. Dr. Eric, True North Chiropractic, and today we're going to be talking about the importance of maintaining good posture. Here we go. So why should you care about your posture? This is a very, very good question. You're not getting a new spine. I want that to sink in, right? You're not getting a new spine. Hip replacements, sure. Knees, okay. But a spine, you're not getting a new spine. What you got, what you're born with is what you have. We've put a man on the moon, we've sent satellites to Mars, but we can't give you a new back. All we can do is we can fuse certain spinal segments, we can take out pieces, we can put pieces in, but no one has ever said, you know what, I had that surgery and I feel 100%, I feel like I've de-aged 50 years. That's never been said. People will say my pain is tolerable, I'm definitely better than what I once was, but when you receive a surgery, for example, you're giving up something to get something, right? So if you're getting a spinal fusion, yeah, the doctor's taking away your pain, but now you're maybe on a low dose medication for the rest of your life in terms of pain management, and also your range of motion is limited. And depending upon where the surgical site is, because they fuse those bones, the areas typically above and the areas below, those start to wear out next. So that's kind of a spillover effect and a spillover effect. So you have the potential for needing either a revised surgery or a successive surgery, a succession surgery, because now something else is worn down, so they have to go back in there. And it's a very invasive procedure as well. So another thing about why you should care about your posture is what happens when you sit all day, or if you have a job that's highly repetitive and forces you into a bad postural position. These are things that we see, and a lot of people, they don't know how to avoid getting out of that bad posture. But what we want to do is that we want to make sure that you have an awareness of it, and that awareness begins by seeing a chiropractor. Now again, I'm biased because I am a chiropractor myself, but I find that we're a great gateway into helping you observe things that you can't observe in your day-to-day world. So typically a patient will come in and they'll see me and they'll say, Doc, I have this pain in my neck, or I have this pain in my lower back, or I have this pain between my shoulders, and I just don't know where it came from. So I'll say, okay, well, tell me about the last couple of days. And they'll say, well, I didn't do anything different. I say, well, tell me what you do. And they'll tell me something, and I'll be able to see that there's some sort of a highly repetitive motion to it. So perhaps you are a parent who's staying home taking care of the kids, and you're doing a lot of bending and reaching and twisting day to day, and you're constantly picking things up because you have to keep your eyes on your kids. So that kind of aggressive motion repetitively is going to start to cause some wear and tear spots into the back. And once I point that out to the individual, they'll say, wow, I guess I do that a lot, and I really don't do anything to take care of my body. So that's a discussion to say, well, here are some things that you can do in order to take care of those areas. Giving advice in our office is very, very big, because I don't live in your shoes, I don't walk in your shoes, but what I can do is I can say, I've seen something similar like this before, and here is statistically the best protocol for you to get better, whether that's a home care exercise, maybe some gentle stretching, some gentle strengthening exercises, some corrective exercises, but what you're going to get is something specific to your care and to your needs, as long as you do the exercises. What we also want to do too is, after you start to do these exercises, we want you to start to feel better each and every day. So we want you to go from feeling bad to good, and go from good to feeling great, right? That's our goal. Education for a patient. This is very important as well, because you don't know what you don't know, right? You can do a Google search, you can go on the internet, and it's only going to get you so far. But when you actually talk to a real life human, they're going to be able to impart some wisdom that you're not going to be able to find when you read it on the internet, right? So it's tough to have a one-way conversation through a blog post. So you read a blog post, you say, oh my God, I think this is me, but there's no dialogue. So there's no call to action. What do I do? Where's the person on the other end? So that's when you see a chiropractor, it's very beneficial, and it's very helpful for you. One of the most common things that we see in terms of our postures, we see what we call forward head posture. So this is where the person kind of slouches down a little bit, so the mid back is rounded, the shoulders kind of crest forward, and the head kind of comes forward like this. So if I turn to the side, you'll see me here, and then it's this posture here. So I could be on my electronic device, I could be on a computer, I could be driving my car. Why that's important is your head weighs about as much as a bowling ball, which is roughly 10 pounds. And what happens is for every inch forward, so I'm coming at the camera, for every inch forward that my head protrudes, you're adding the equivalent of another head's weight in terms of the forces that the muscle tissues in the back of my neck have to do to hold me upright. So if I'm sitting up nice and tall with perfect posture and I'm 1 inch forward, that's 20 pounds. If I'm 2 inches forward, that's 30 pounds, 4, and so on. So what ends up happening is the muscle tissues at the end of the day, they're fatigued, right? So you really want to make sure that these muscle tissues are not under pressure for long periods of the day, because what starts to happen is the spine actually starts to accommodate to that new curvature. The ligaments start to stretch, the muscle tissues start to lose their strength, and you can start to create arthritic patterns of wear and tear into those joints. The discs get a little bit thinner, the nervous system is working harder, and you start to notice that you're in more chronic pain than you were before. And this can, in some cases, lead to radiating pain that goes down to the arms, in addition to chronic soreness and reduced range of motion. The solution that I have to people who want to avoid neck pain as much as possible is, again, look at your environment, look at your surroundings, take a step back and see what are you doing on a day-to-day basis that's causing that particular pain to constantly reoccur. Is it how you work? Is it how you sleep? Is it how you interact in your working environment? If you're someone who is working at their office, do you have access to a standing desk, right? There's very, very affordable options that actually sit on top of an existing desk depending upon your workstation and your work capacity. Such things as brightening up the monitor on your computer, right? That way you're not squinting and leaning forward. And a lot of people will pair that with wearing those blue light glasses to help to reduce some of the visual disturbances that happen there. You can also adjust your computer chair, right? If your office is springing a couple of bucks and getting a new office chair, or perhaps you don't mind spending a couple of bucks on your own, go to places that have office chairs in stock and sit in a couple of different office chairs and make sure that they have enough pivoting motions, the arms raise and lower. There's a little bit of lumbar support that helps you to naturally sit up nice and tall, in a posture that's a little bit more forgiving to that neck. Those are some other options you can look at as well. And also too, is your workspace well lit, right? If your workspace is rather dim, then you're constantly kind of squinting and kind of bringing things really close up to your eyes because you don't have adequate light. So those are some small tips that you can do with those. Another one that we look at in terms of posture and why you should care is we see a lot of people sitting with lower back pain, right? So these are the people that say, I always have this low back pain. I guess that's just how it's going to be. And my call to that is not really. It is only if you let it. So when we look at the lower back, we have this nice C-shaped curve in our lower back. And what ends up happening is when that curve, so if my hand is here and this is our natural curve, when we sit, we actually straighten, and sometimes the curve actually slumps forward. So if I slouch like this, my spine went from this, that kind of curve, and then it kind of comes forward like this. And what I'm doing is I'm exposing some of the ligaments and some of the muscle tissues in the discs as well to potential damage. So when my spine loses that natural curve, it goes from being a shock absorber, a natural shock absorber, and it starts to become a pile driver, and that's when we start to put compressive forces on the body, and that's when you start to see the arthritic changes begin to happen. So some of the symptoms of people who have lower back pain is when you're sitting to standing and you're kind of slow to get up and you're kind of hunched over for those first couple of steps before you start to feel better. In addition, we start to see people developing weakness in the legs. So they say my legs just don't feel like as strong as they used to be. Or they say I have pain in one side of the lower back or the other side of the lower back, or perhaps both legs, that's just not going away. Or they feel unstable on their feet. So the solution for people who have lower back pain is you want to adjust your workstation. So again, just like the neck, if you're able to adjust your workstation, that's going to be a little bit more forgiving. So possibly a standing desk or a modified standing desk, that's going to help mitigate some of the lower back pain as well. Adjusting your computer monitor will help, because if the computer monitor comes up, your posture is naturally going to come up, and that's going to help to protect the lower back. It's also going to help the thoracic spine as well by taking some of the compressive forces out of that area. Also, adjusting your computer chair is an option, making sure that the chairs are ergonomically designed for you. Some people, they'll actually go out of their way and they'll buy one of those large kind of Swiss inflatable balls. It's called a Bosu ball or a Swiss ball, and if work allows them to have one of those, some people will sit on that and they find that's very comfortable for maintaining their lumbar spine. In addition, if you can't do any of those things and the work chair is what it is, you can actually bring in lumbar support. There's many different websites out there that offer well-made products that you can put behind your lower back, or some people that elect to bring a cushion from home and put it behind their lower back, and that helps them to sit up nice and tall as well. Call to action. If you're somebody who has posture-related pain that's not going away, whether it's neck, upper back, shoulder pain, whether it's lower back pain, whether it's pain that's progressed to the point where you now have poor nights of sleep, pain that doesn't go away, or radiating pain into the arms or the legs, don't hesitate to give us a call. Have a consult with us, because what we're going to do is we're going to talk about what's going on in your working world, and we're going to be able to kind of help you navigate through that working world to see how can we make your workstation or your leisure station better for you, so that you can kind of live in that environment in a better way, more efficiently, and be able to be more resilient against pain.